Now there may be some, no, they're not. Because I'm thinking about the Black Girls Hack.
Black Girls Hack, Black Girls Code, some of those camps.
But they don't have the connection piece.
Exactly, the history.
So that's what's unique, the historic. So I think it's important to teach that part so that students can identify with the technology, and whereas they come in after. So I think, this is why the program is so unique.
Absolutely.
Someone said they would love to pick at my mind. Whose mind? My mind?
Probably said pick your mind.
Peace and love, family. Welcome to another powerful build with your sister, Dr. Maat, family. I know you're like, where has my sister been? I got to get back to consistently going live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sundays. But you all know, hopefully you figured out. But if I do go live during the week, then I typically do not go live on that Sunday. Does that make sense, guys? Like if I've already been live during a week, I'm like, I'll just chill on that Sunday. But definitely want to shout out to my audience family. I see you all in the building. Peace and love to my brother, Michael Johnson. Peace and love to you, beloved. I see Bay Lou is in the building. Peace and love to you. Oh, man, he said the sound wasn't on. Oh, I hope that I fixed that, man. I hope that I fixed that, Bay Lou. But thank you for bringing that to my attention, man. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I see the beautiful mind is in the building. Peace and love to you. She said the same thing. The Queen Mother said it's no sound. And so a beautiful mind and Bay Lou, was it no sound when I was playing those two commercials at the end, or was no sound when I was playing the music at the beginning? Please clarify that for me. But peace and love. I see Brother Anthony is in the building. Peace and love. He said the same thing. Golly, a BB Fahodie to you, Brother Anthony. I see Michael Johnson said, okay, great. Peace and love to you. I see Nikisha Johnson's in the building. Peace and love to you, beloved. And I also see my Instagram family in the building. Peace and love to my Instagram family. I see Lawrence is in the building. SA is in the building. K Show is in the building. Halim is in the building. I see, what is that, Favorite Rain? I'm getting old, so my vision is like, ooh, but I see you. Peace and love. Oh, okay. God said during the God said during the commercials. Oh man, yeah. Okay. So hold on. I got to do that again then. I really wanted the commercial. Someone said it was the intro. Brother David said it was the intro. So forgive me, family, on that. I was trying something new, and I kind of butchered it. But peace and love to everyone under the sound of my voice. Thank you for tuning into this build. Family, do me a favor right now. Take a moment out to thumb up this video. Thumb it up, family. And also share this video. We're going to have a brief but powerful discussion tonight. We're going to have a brief and powerful discussion tonight. You see the title, family. Biden pardons his son, right? Social media is celebrating the death, or should I say the assassination, right, of the CEO, Brian Thompson. And lastly, cable news is done. I wanted to put dead in the title, but you know how sometimes these algorithms work. They're using AI and they look for keywords and any reason to flag your video. So I didn't put dead, but cable news is done. And so we're going to have that conversation tonight. So family, thumb up this video, thumb it up, and also share this video. We want to each one teach one. And in the 21st century, it's very easy to do with the internet and with social media. All you have to do is go to your Facebook, your Instagram, your X, your Twitter. No, X and Twitter. Yes, it's X. It's not Twitter. It's X, TikTok, Instagram, right? All of these social media platforms, even Thread, right? Or Threads, right? Go there, family, share the link. Let the family know I'm live. A lot of us have family group chats. We got friend group chats. Copy the link, put it in these places. Let folks know that I'm live. You see at the bottom, family, I'm promoting the UHCI STEM Camp, family. This is a STEM camp that was designed specifically for Black children to increase Black participation and interest in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And so, family, we have a camp that starts on December the 23rd. It ends on December the 30th. Children are on with us for 2 hours for 7 days. Well, not 7 days, 5 days technically. And they're off on Christmas. Family, registration ends tomorrow. So if you are interested in getting your child in the STEM camp, which I highly suggest that you do, make sure that you click the link or go visit the link or the URL that you see below. Also, family, the commercials, you didn't see the Uhuru Academy commercial, but I do want to drop this link. I want you to look at this link as well. So here's the link for the Uhuru Academy. I see online there are a lot of incidents happening in the public food system, which is to be expected. And so I really don't understand why Black folks feel the need to continue to subject our babies to that food system. You know, when you have options. We have our own school system. I think that a lot of us don't see the value in what each other produces. You understand? Like, I think if you understood and saw the value in it, you will pull your children out of the food system and get your children in our system. Family, you see the URL below. Just visit the uhuruacademy.org. Visit the uhuruacademy.org. Get your child out of the public food system and get them into the Uhuru Academy. And guess what? My son is in the Uhuru Academy. He's been in there almost 3 years. This is his 3rd academic year. He absolutely loves it. So I'm not asking you to do anything else, anything that I wouldn't do. And also, family, make sure that you visit MELTREK365.com. Get your MELTREK for your babies. And y'all, some of y'all like, what the hell is MELTREK, Dr. Maat? MELTREK is an animated book series and film series an animated series and book series that teaches children about the history of Black people from a Black perspective. So we don't have to rely on the public food system, family, to teach our children our history. So just make sure that you visit MELTREK 365. You got Christmas coming up. You got Kwanzaa coming up, family. So make sure that you visit MELTREK 365 to grab your MELTREK. So let's jump into it, family. Let's jump into it. I'm getting ready to share my screen with you. Let's jump into it. Like I said, I won't be long, but I will be strong, family. So you all heard that Biden he pardoned his son. And a lot of people are upset. And let me make sure I share the sound, because now you guys got me paranoid. Y'all like, I can't hear the sound, Dr. Maat. So I want to make sure that you all can hear the sound, because I will be playing some videos. So Biden pardoned his son, right? And I expected him to, even though Biden lied. I mean, he kept saying, no one is above justice. You know, I'm going to let the justice system run its course. I'm not going to intervene. And he kept saying it over and over and over again. And the sad part is that people actually believed him. People actually believed that he wasn't going to pardon his son, Hunter Biden. And he did. You know, he did. And it perplexes me how naive and gullible people are. You actually thought this man was not going to pardon his son before he got out of office? So that's letting me know that a lot of us are bat-ass crazy. I ain't gonna say it live on air. They didn't took the stream down. But a lot of us are bat-ass crazy if you think that this man wasn't going to pardon his son. But what I'm noticing is that a lot of his supporters do not want to call out the fact that he lied. Right. A lot of these Democrats, and no, I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent voter. So I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. On my voter registration card, it says unaffiliated. OK, and I typically vote, independent, third party. But a lot of the Biden supporters, they don't want to call out the hypocrisy and the fact that he lied. So remember, him and his administration and the far left and the Democrats, they were attacking, Trump and his, with his legal issues. Remember, they were calling that out. So I see the hypocrisy there. And then he just flat out lied. He said that he wasn't going to do something that he turned around and did. And so in this article, and I love to read NPR's article. In this article, they talk about the charges, right? So Hunter Biden, he lied on an application to get a gun. He was a coke person. He was addicted to cocaine, and he lied on the application concerning his addiction, and they found out that he lied and he was in possession of a gun. So he had a gun charge. And then he also owed $1.4 million in taxes. And I think he did end up paying it. And so Biden is saying that oh, his son is under political pressure. They only came at his son, to attack him. Now, remember when Trump was saying the same thing. Trump has been saying, oh, they're weaponizing the justice. I call it, y'all call it the justice system. I call it the injustice system. But Trump was saying the same thing. Like, man, they're weaponizing I'm calling it the injustice system against me, right? I'm under attack. And when he was saying it, everybody was like, oh, no, man, eat the charges. You did it. You did the crime. You did the time. And they were saying all that. But now Biden is saying the same thing. Oh, my son is under political pressure. They're attacking him to get to me. And so my enemies are weaponizing, the injustice system to get at me. And so I'm sitting here like, his talking points sound very familiar. But when the far right was saying that, and when Trump was saying that, everybody was throwing tomatoes at him, but now Biden is saying it and it's okay. And the bottom line is, family, what we witnessed was white power and white privilege. That's the bottom line. We witnessed white power and white privilege, right? The privilege that white men enjoy. And that's what happened. Hunter Biden is a rich, white, privileged man. And he evaded the law. He got off, even though Biden said, oh, no one's above the law. But Hunter Biden is above the law, right? He got him off. And this isn't the first time that a president pardoned a relative. And they talk about this in the NPR article. Hold on, I'm going to scroll down to the section. Here it is right here. When have it been used? Okay, here it is right here. And let me zoom in, family, really quickly. All right. So it says, have presidents pardoned relatives before? It says Biden is now the third president to pardon a relative. It says on his last day in office in 2001, President Bill Clinton pardoned his half-brother Roger, who pled guilty and spent a year in jail on drug charges. But we didn't hear much about that, right? But he did. So you had President Bill Clinton. He pardoned his half-brother Rogers. And it says right here that was one of a whooping 140 pardons that Clinton issued that day, and not the most controversial, okay? It says he got the most flack for pardoning Mark Rich, a disgraced financier who had fled to Switzerland after being indicted for evading more than $48 million in taxes, among other charges. Rich's wife, Denise, had donated over $1 million to the Democrats and Clinton's presidential library, raising questions and a Justice Department investigation into the pardon, which ultimately found no wrongdoing in Clinton. So it's really about the money, family. It's about the money. It's not about the crime and, oh, you did the crime. People, no, it's not about justice. Not in this country. In this country, it's about the money. It's about the dollar bill. So Clinton pardoned his half-brother Rogers, and then he pardoned another guy whose wife donated money to his campaign. So it's not about justice at all in America. And so if you all think it is, then you've been duped. All right. So it says right here that Trump also issued a flurry of pardons, 74 to be exact, in the final hours of his first term, with recipients including his former chief strategist, Steve Bannon, rapper Lil Wayne, and I do remember that, Al Pirro, and the former husband of Fox News commentator Janine Pirro. And I may have butchered that. It said he had previously pardoned many other members of his inner circle, family. Again, we're looking at, this is white power. This is white privilege. So it says he had previously pardoned many other members where? In his inner circle, who had been charged with various crimes, including Republican operative Roger Stone, former campaign chairman Paul Manafort, and Charles Kushner. It says the father of his senior advisor and son-in-law, Jared Kushner. So family, again, this is how they operate. And that's why I've been telling folks for years, don't trust none of these politicians, especially the white ones. But don't trust none of these politicians. This is what they do, and it's a track record of that. And that's why you shouldn't be shocked when Trump said that he was going to pardon all of the people who were involved in the January 6th, on the Capitol riot. He said, I'm pardoning everybody. Why would, if you knew this history that he's done this before, you wouldn't be surprised at what he said. Let's keep going. So you got Bill Clinton. He pardoned his what was that? His son-in-law? Was it his son-in-law? Hold on. Or it may have been brother-in-law. Okay, half brother. Sorry. So you had Bill Clinton. He pardoned his half brother. Then you had Trump pardon people in his inner circle. Okay, and so this stuff has happened before, family. But what really disgusts me, and I shouldn't have been shocked. And then this is my girl, Jasmine Crockett. And I love Jasmine Crockett, by the way. That is my girl. You know, she says a lot of things that I do agree with. She espouses a lot of views that I do agree with. But I saw how she kind of justified what Biden did instead of just flat out saying, look, yeah, Biden lied. You know, he said he wasn't going to do it. He turned around and did it. You know, now a lot of the Democrats and the far left, they're saying things like, well, if that was your child, wouldn't you pardon your child? I wouldn't let my child. You're missing the point. You're missing the hypocrisy, and you're missing the fact that he lies, and nobody wants to call that out. But listen to what our sister Jasmine Crockett had to say.
And when you made a promise, you got to keep it.
I wonder if the senator is holding for both Democrats and Republicans. I want to bring in Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett from Texas. She serves in the House Oversight Committee. Glad to have you here, Congresswoman. I'm eager to get your take on this because, look, I mean, you have actually congratulated President Biden.
Yeah.
You seem to be, at least publicly, in the minority among Democrats in the House. Why do you think you are in the minority here, and is it sincere?
First of all, it is sincere. And, you know, I can't say why my colleagues are acting the way that they are. I can say that the American people are tired of us bringing a butter knife to a real fight, a real war. And the reality is that, you know, a lot of my colleagues, even if they are lawyers, they've never practiced law. They've never actually been in a courtroom, something that you've done before. And Laura, you and I haven't rehearsed this, and I'm not supposed to do this because, you know, we're never supposed to ask a question you don't know the answer to. But chances are, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you've never prosecuted anyone who was a drug addict and they filled out an application to get a gun before.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So in my experience, because I did practice criminal defense for almost 20 years, both in state courts as well as federal courts, I've never seen a case like this before. So, you know, when we look at this, and as somebody who serves on oversight, I saw it up close and personal. Listen, this was gamesmanship. They were going after his only son so that they could try to get at him. This was all about politics. And at the end of the day,
but remember, Trump was saying the same thing. And y'all, please don't think Dr. Maat is a Trump supporter. I'm not. I can't stand either one of them. I just had a conversation with my family and I said both of them are evil, right? Both of them. You got the devil and you got Satan. So I'm not capping for him. I just want you all to listen to what she's saying and think about the stuff that Trump and the Republicans, what they've been saying. Oh, they're coming after me. They're weaponizing the justice system. They're using the same talking points. Come on, man.
Day when the president said that he had no intentions of pardoning his son, I absolutely believe that he believed that in that moment. I also,
why would he have done that, Congresswoman? I mean, in the grand scheme of things, as he wrote out in that statement, for the reasons you've suggested, these charges alone, the accusations alone, normally would not have given way to a trial.
No.
But Biden truly would have known. He himself, by the way, was a defense attorney for a time in his earlier career. He himself would have known how this all works, so to speak. Why wouldn't he have given himself some room to even equivocate? Why would he have said so definitively if that might have been in the future?
I can't tell you why he did it. I can tell you that at the time that he said it, though, he was, number one, the Democratic nominee to go after a second term. And circumstances have changed. Not only did he not end up becoming the Democratic nominee to go into a second term, we know that Trump and his administration, you were just talking about in your lead-in about Kash Patel. And so not only is it that we lost, but we now know that we have someone who is a convicted criminal that is going into the White House and seemingly is surrounding himself with questionable figures. And the retribution that he's talked about seeking on the trail, I think that the president is taking him at his word, and he's decided that he is going to protect his only son. And honestly, I think that it was the right move. Listen, anybody that has a problem with a pardon, let me be clear about this. The only way you get a pardon is if you've been in trouble in some way. And so, at the end of the day, there are really bad folk that Trump decided that he would pardon when he was going through his first presidential when he served in his first presidency. Listen, at the end of the day, I need people to really recognize that we are living in some different times. And I applaud the president because the American people have been so upset with Democrats not fighting back and not fighting with the same tools that the Republicans have been fighting with. And we know that the Supreme Court has done what? Given immunity. His own lawyers argued to the Supreme Court that he should be allowed to have SEAL Team 6 go out and kill somebody. So
they have said that there is some form for official conduct and acts. Really quickly, though, Democrats have been accused of seeking the moral high ground, even at their own expense. Are we seeing a shift?
That is not. And see, when she asked that question, I cringed. When she said Democrats have been accused of seeking the high moral ground, I think that's true on the surface, but they do a lot of underhanded stuff. When I interviewed Dr. Cornel West and also interviewed Dr. Jill Stein, they talked about the shady stuff that the Democratic Party was doing. So, for example, like they tried very hard to sabotage both campaigns, the campaigns of Dr. Jill Stein, and shout out to Dr. Butch Ware and Dr. Jill Stein, and also Dr. Cornel West and Dr. Abdullah. They used their lawyers to make sure that they did not get ballot access, to block them from the ballots. So they did some shady stuff, with them. They also, at the DNC, at the Democratic National Convention, they allowed an Israeli family to speak, to address the crowd. But there were Palestinian American families right there at the DNC, and they were like, nah, you all can't speak. But we're going to allow these people to speak. They also got up there and lied to the American people and said, we're going after big corporations. We're going after them and we're going to do this. But then if you looked up and Chris Cuomo from News Nations, he was there and he showed how there were a lot of big corporations who purchased the boxes that were literally above the heads of the crowd. And he said a lot of those boxes started at $500,000. So to sit here and say that who in their right mind would accuse the Democrats of taking the moral high ground, given the shakiness, the shadiness that the Democrats have done? So come on, man. So when she asked this question, I was kind of, anyway.
Now where Democrats are no longer bringing that sort of butter knife and are just going to say, listen, we're going to fight in the way that perhaps they expect Republicans to?
I don't see the shift. You just said I'm in the minority.
But my question was about you being sincere. It wasn't whether you were sincere, but are there others behind closed doors who actually feel just like you do and are saying in front of cameras, this is unbelievable, I can't imagine this ever happening?
No, I think that others that feel the way that I feel, they're actually quiet. I think the ones that are out front saying what they're saying, they really believe what they're saying.
Why are they quiet?
Everybody comes from different districts. So a lot of people are always concerned about how will my district take this. But for me, listen, I'm fearless. At the end of the day, I do believe in democracy. If my district ever feels as if I'm not representing an authentic voice for them, then they will vote me out. But one thing I can't do is not be myself.
I see. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, always a pleasure to see yourself in this studio.
And so I want to put up this comment. Shout out to brother Nama X. He said the hypocrisy of these European criminals. He said our people have been under political pressure for 500 years. So you said, well, it's okay that Biden pardoned his son. You know what? But Biden didn't pardon the people that were impacted by his 1994 crime bill. He didn't pardon those folks. So the same folks that are over here, man, if that was my son, I would have. Well, he didn't pardon those folks, and he knows the impact of the 1994 crime bill. He knows what he's done, and he did not pardon those people, but he's sitting here, you want to applaud him for pardoning his son, right? And he's saying under political pressure. Well, what do you call the 1994 crime bill? Was that not political pressure? you still had black and brown people getting locked up behind foolishness. Let me tell you what happened. So you all remember during the prohibition, the alcohol prohibition, right? When they used to lock up people, for alcohol, they started locking up people. They called them bootleggers. But they were trying to usher in the legalization of alcohol. They did the same thing with marijuana. They did the same thing with marijuana, people. They did the same thing. They were locking up people for petty marijuana charges. They were locking up people who were distributors of marijuana. I know that personally because I was involved and got wrapped up in that. So they were locking up all of these folks. And I'll never, ever forget having a conversation with a lawyer, Warren Brown. And Warren Brown came out and he said, and this is over a decade ago, what I'm sharing with you guys. This is over a decade ago. And Warren Brown said, man, it's not about the fact that you all were selling marijuana. He said they were just amazed at all of the houses that they raided and how much money they found. And he said, what's going on right now is political. Why was it political? Because they already knew they were going to legalize marijuana. That didn't just happen out of the blue. So what they did was they had to get folks out of the way. They got black and brown folk. They got us out of the way. And they ushered in the legalization of marijuana. That was political pressure. And so a lot of people got locked up behind that. Do you see Biden pardoning people for that? No. And you want to sit here and applaud him for pardoning his son? Again, that was white power and white privilege. Family, thumb up this video, man. Thumb it up, thumb it up, thumb it up. Also share this video. Share it. And then you had Charlemagne. Charlemagne goes on to The View. And him and Whoopi Goldberg kind of got into a back and forth. Because Charlemagne called out the hypocrisy. He was like, wait a minute. Joe Biden lied. He's being a hypocrite. And he called it out. And, Whoopi Goldberg is a Democrat. So she got offended. And tried to justify Biden's actions. No, it was hypocrisy at its finest, and he did lie. And I don't understand why we can't just say that. He lied. He said he wasn't going to do something that he did, that he said he wasn't going to do something that he ended up doing. That's a lie. Then he said his political pressure is this, is that, and he's being a hypocrite. He's using the same talking points as Trump. Why can't we just be honest here? Here we go, family. Check out this clip.
That's going around right now, a lot of this conversation about President Biden getting criticized from both sides of the aisle for pardoning his son Hunter after repeatedly saying he would never do it. And a lot of people are saying that it's hypocritical, et cetera, as if the other side doesn't do it. But what's your reaction to it? I
mean, I think all of the criticism is valid because, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time. And, they act so self-righteous. The reality is he didn't have to say anything in regards to, whether or not, his son wanted to be pardoned. He could have said, hey, man, I'm not focused on that right now. But since they were calling Trump a threat to democracy and they were saying that, nobody's above the law, but they were speaking about him, that's what they were running on. So when he kept saying things like, nobody's above the law, I respect, the jury's decision in regards to my son, he didn't believe that. But he didn't have to volunteer that lie to begin with.
That part, just shut up. He didn't have to say anything. He didn't have to say a word. He didn't have to say anything. Just shut up, pardon your son, and keep it pushing. But they attack Trump for the very same thing that they're doing. That's called hypocrisy, family, at its finest.
I'm going to stop you for a second.
Uh-oh.
Of course.
Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't know why he changed
You really think he just changed his mind over Thanksgiving weekend all of a sudden?
No, I'm going to tell you what I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he changed his mind because he got sick of watching everybody else get over.
As if the Democrats haven't been getting over.
And this is just my feeling, because at some point you get to the place where you just go, so I'm just going to follow the straight and narrow always.
They've never just followed the straight and narrow always.
Because that's what's expected of Democrats.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that go out there and they stand on this moral high ground.
Listen,
they don't have to do that.
I'm a Democrat. Tell me what the moral high ground is.
The moral high ground is nobody's above the law. I respect what the jurors are saying. He don't have to do that.
So we're mad at him because he changed his.
Oh, no. By the way, I'm not mad at him pardoning Hunter Biden.
But you sound like you're.
No.
If I can get in on this.
See, they're missing the whole point, man. And see, that's why I'm at a point, man. You know, it's a verse in the Bible that says, "Don't cast your pearls to swine." I'm at a point where when I sit and I assess people's intellect and their intelligence. I do. I'm not going to lie. I sit down and I'll throw out certain things. And once I, assess that you're not, capable of having an intellectual dialogue with me, I just shut down. She missed the whole point that Charlemagne made. She missed the whole point. Charlemagne's like, look, he lied. He didn't have to volunteer that lie. And I see some hypocrisy in his actions. And instead of her just saying, you know what, Charlemagne, what you're saying is facts. That's true. He did lie. He said he was going to do something that he didn't do. And even Charlemagne said he knew he was going to pardon his son. What do you think? He just changed his mind over Thanksgiving dinner? Like, that's real. He already knew what he was going to do. He knew what he was going to do. And so instead of her just conceding and saying, you know what, yeah, you got a point. Oh, what y'all mad because that's what he did because he pardoned his son? You see how they try to flip and change? No, all these Charlemagne's calling out the hypocrisy in the Lie family. And now she's saying, oh, you mad because he pardoned? No, that's not what this is about.
I actually think it went further. And this is one thing
Let's go back.
He didn't. You don't have to do
we're
that.
mad at him because he changed his.
We mad. So now we mad because he changed his mind. No, people are upset because he lied. And because he's a hypocrite. That's why people are upset, not because he changed his mind.
Oh, by the way, I'm not mad at him pardoning
But
Hunter
you sound
Biden.
like you're
No.
If I can get in on this, I actually think it went further, and this is one thing we really disagree on. Joe Biden made a point of saying we stand by our institutions
Yes, I
and the
understand all that.
impartiality of the
Yes.
Department of Justice.
Yes.
Democrats ran on that. This same DOJ indicted Hunter Biden. How we shouldn't be saying it's corrupt like Donald Trump does. But then in his statement pardoning Hunter Biden, he says that it was a political pursuit by his own Department of Justice.
Can you explain to me why it is
Thank you. Thank you.
that when Joe Biden does something, everybody clutches their pearls? He's wrong.
Nobody
he lied.
has criticized Donald Trump more than me or Charlemagne.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, people have criticized him more. I've criticized him more. We've all criticized him more, but you're missing my question.
Okay.
My question is, what is it that makes people flip out with Joe, but we don't have the same kind of thing?
Well, I don't think people are flipping out with Joe. I think Democrats are flipping out with Joe because Democrats believe that they don't represent what he's currently representing. But that's just not true. That's why I say they stand on this moral high ground that simply does not exist. And I think this is also the problem when we pick sides, right? We've turned political parties into teams. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. Ain't nobody more delusional than me, right? Okay? I feel like we're going to the Super Bowl every year, but I'm not delusional. Well, no, that is delusional. But when it comes... But when it comes to political parties, if you pick a side, right, if you say you're a Democrat, if you say you're a Republican, you refuse to be objective about anything.
That's why I'm an independent.
Yes, but
I think that's the best way to go.
But that's not a monolith. We're not, Democrats are not a monolith.
Why can't you say when Democrats are wrong? And
That part. Why can't you just simply say when they're wrong?
why can't Republicans say when Republicans are wrong?
I'll tell you when Democrats
So
are
you
wrong.
don't think Joe
I say it
Biden is
on the
wrong?
show.
No, I
I
don't.
don't.
And can I,
They really don't.
and can
Well,
I just
that's
point this out to you?
ridiculous.
The president has a
No,
pardon
you're
power, right?
ridiculous.
I didn't say you were ridiculous, Ms. Goldberg.
Yeah,
I would
well.
never. I said that. I just think that.
Think about
Come
it.
over and give
Just
me a
think about
kiss.
it this way. Just very quickly, can you reframe it in this way and think about it maybe in this way? The president has the ultimate pardon power. Every president has done this, right? Yeah. And so people are saying is that Joe Biden is now a liar, as opposed to Joe Biden is someone who now knows that the person that is going to be in the White House is on a revenge tour and his son is on an enemies list. And so he is using his rightful power, his rightful political power.
And see, that's the narrative that they want to spin. That, Trump he's on this, he's on this revenge tour. He's going to weaponize, the justice system. He's going after his enemies and he's trying to just save his son. And that is the narrative that they're spinning right now for Joe.
To pardon his son. Now, is that a lie, or is that perhaps being pragmatic, having a change of opinion, as opposed to the president-elect who has lied
almost 40,000 times during his first term.
Well, I can't say what it is because I'm not in
the moral high ground? Like, what's the faux outrage?
Neither one of them have the moral high ground. That's what I'm trying to get everybody to understand. But when you are a diehard Democrat or a diehard Republican, you refuse to be objective about the other party. Like it's like we're watching them do something wrong, but we're making excuses for it. We watch Republicans do things wrong and they make excuses for it. Why can't we just all be objective and call it what it is?
Because it's not balanced. It's not the same.
All right, so listen up.
Lord.
Stay.
Oh, Lord, man. Oh, Lord, man. So you had that exchange. Hold on, y'all. You had that exchange, family. And let me take this off the screen. Family. So I don't trust none of them. And I see Sister A Beautiful Mind, the Queen Mother. She was saying there was no logic and that she doesn't trust any of them. And so, family, this is what I want to charge all of us with. We need to become more engaged in our local politics. I'm going to say this again. We need to become more engaged in our local politics. We need to begin to organize and mobilize. And that's why I have Kwame Ture up here. I'm going to play a clip. He talks about the difference between, mobilization and organization. We need to be doing both. We need to organize and we need to mobilize. We need to get more engaged in our local politics. I'm talking about everything, local politics. We also, family, need to be thinking about 4 years from now, right? 4 years from now is going to be another election. What position? We want to be in a position of power in 4 years, in a position of political power in 4 years, not scrambling on the internet, trying to figure out who we're going to vote for. Half 10% of us are voting over here, 90% of us over here, 5% of us over there. No, in 4 years, we need to be thinking about what position we want to be in. And let me tell you the position that we want to be in. We want to be in a position, and I remember reading this in the Blueprint for Black Power. Dr. Amos Wilson, in his book, Blueprint for Black Power, he talked about us starting our own political party. It was the need for a Black nationalist political party. And this is what he said. He said, I don't think that our candidate would win, because we already know that white folks have a population monopoly right now. He said, I don't think that, he said, I don't think our candidate would win, but I think us having our own party would organize the Black vote, right? Organize Black votes, Black money, and Black interests, right? And it will force other candidates to have to come to us. You understand? It will force them to have to come to us and have that conversation. And we can leverage our money, leverage our votes. So our candidate may not win, right? But guess what? We have 48 million Black votes, and let's say we have $48 million. We can buy a candidate. Dr. Claude Anderson talks about that in his book, Powernomics. We can buy it. We can buy one. We can say, look, man, here's our Black agenda. We got a check right here. And guess what? It doesn't even have to be one candidate. Asian people play both sides. We could buy a blue candidate and a red candidate and say, look, if you get in office, if you pledge that you will, execute our Black agenda, we'll give you, 48 million votes, plus we'll cut a check for $20 million. We can buy our candidates. That's the position that we want to be in 4 years, right? In a position of power in 4 years. So let's start getting more engaged in our local politics, right? In our local and state politics. Let's get more engaged and let's organize and think about the next election cycle in the position that we want to be in. We have to organize and we have to mobilize. But I want to play a clip of Kwame Ture speaking about this. And this is powerful. This is really, really powerful. Pull this up. Here we go, y'all. The difference between mobilization and organization. Here we go. I don't know what this is at the bottom. Let me see if I go back. Oh, here we go. All right, here we go, family.
To mobilization and organization, something we mentioned last year. We must make clear distinctions between mobilizers and organizers. To be an organizer, you must be a mobilizer. But being a mobilizer doesn't make you an organizer. Much confusion is to be found here. Malcolm X was a great mobilizer. He was a great organizer. Martin Luther King was a great mobilizer. He was not a great organizer. These facts can be easily seen from King and Malcolm. When Malcolm went to a place, he left a mosque. When King went to demonstrations, he broke down desegregation and he moved on. As a matter of fact, King was not concerned with organization to the point that even though he was the most popular Baptist preacher in America, without the shadow of a doubt, and probably beyond the shadow of a doubt, the most loved, he could not become president of the National Baptist Convention. Yeah, so many of them. The National Baptist Convention. As a matter of fact, if my memory serves me correctly now, and I remember it was Muhammad Speaks that carried the article on the front page in 1964, when King tried to become president of the National Baptist Convention. There was so much confusion there that a minister was actually pushed off the stage and died in the trouble. Yeah. And of course, King lost. The man who won was a reactionary man by the name of Jackson. He never did nothing for the people, never cared about the people, just was a pork chop minister who used their money to put gas in his big Cadillac. But he was organized. We say that we must come to know the difference between mobilization and organization because the enemy will use mobilization to demobilize us. Mobilization is very easy, very, very easy. Because since we're people who are instinctively ready to respond against acts of injustice, anytime there's one little act of injustice, we can blow it up and we'll find people who come and make some mass demonstration around it. Miss Sally lost a job. Let's rally. She'll get her job back. People will come and rally. So-and-so got kicked out of school because the teacher's unjust. The people will come and rally. They will come to rally at issues. And this is what mobilization does. It mobilizes people around issues. Those of us who are revolutionary are not concerned with issues. We're concerned with the system.
Oh my gosh, did you all just hear what he just said? When people mobilize, he said they typically mobilize around issues. But he said organizers are concerned with systems, not issues. You know, hold on, family. Hold on. He gets to it. Oh my gosh.
And this is what mobilization does. It mobilizes people around issues. Those of us who are revolutionary are not concerned with issues. We're concerned with the system. The difference must be properly understood. The difference must be properly understood. Mobilization usually leads to reform action, not to revolutionary action.
You heard that? It leads to, so when you mobilize, it leads to reform. So think about that. The Montgomery boycott, the Montgomery bus boycott. You know, they went down there and they mobilized. And what happened? They end up desegregating the bus. But did that change the system? No, it didn't change the system of segregation. It didn't change that system, right? They went down there and it was like, okay, we ain't gonna ride the bus. I think it was for over a year. And then they went down there, they mobilized, they boycotted, and it was like, okay, yeah, you can ride the bus. So what he's saying, man, is like dead on about mobilization versus organization.
Mobilization usually leads to reform action.
Reform.
Not to revolutionary action.
Come on.
If we would look scientifically at the October 16th Million and More March, we would see clearly that this was a mobilized event, not an organized event. We must know clearly the difference between mobilization and organization. One of the characteristics of mobilization is that it is temporary. Organization is permanent.
Come on.
And eternal.
Teach.
Clear differences must be made because the unconscious can usually be captured easily around one-issue items, around mobilization items, but it's hard to catch them around organization. But these unconscious must be brought to organization. We must transform mobilization to organization. We say the enemy will come and use mobilization to demobilize us. Many brothers and sisters who've been to the Million and More March will say to you, I was there. Well, what are you doing today, my sister? I was there.
Come on.
There weren't too many sisters out there, but you know, with a million brothers together, you know where I had to be. I was there. And then, of course, you find brothers, yeah, I was there. I helped you. What are you doing today, brother? If we're not careful, we allow mobilization to become events. The struggle is never an event. It's a process, a continual, eternal process.
Woo! Oh, hold on, y'all. Hold on.
Eternal events. If we're not careful, we allow mobilization to become events. The struggle is never an event. It's a process, a continual, eternal process.
Think about that, family. George Floyd. Remember with George Floyd? Everybody ran outside. Police brutality. Every time. Think about it. We've been mobilizing. Think about it, family. You had the George Floyd. Everybody ran out there. Trayvon Martin, same thing. Sandra Bland, Michael Brown. A lot of this is mobilization. It's not organization. He said organization is a process, and it's a continued struggle for revolution. Hold on, y'all. I don't think y'all hear me.
Eternal process.
It's an eternal process. Oh my goodness, y'all. Oh my goodness. All right, y'all. So moving on to another topic, and I'm getting ready to close out. I said I wasn't going to keep you all on here long. I know that you heard about the CEO from United Healthcare. He was murdered, and in New York. And I saw the video. I saw the video, and he was walking, and the gunman, came out. Shot him right in the back of the head. He didn't see it coming. And they said that the gunman fled into Central Park. And the police did, from my understanding, release some photos of the gunman in the Starbucks. I think he was in a Starbucks or a coffee shop or something right before he did it. But let's look at it really quickly, y'all, because I do have something I need to say about this. I know a lot of folks are talking about this on social media. So I definitely wanted to speak on this. Hold on. There's a lot of pop-ups. All right. So the CEO, his name was Brian Thompson. And this is all over the place. And so they said he was shot in the back and right calf, outside of New York, Hilton Midtown, just before 7 a.m. So it happened in the morning, Wednesday morning. And they said he was rushed to the hospital. He was in critical condition, and they pronounced him dead. It says the suspect's identity hasn't been released, but they have like photos of persons of interest, adding 2 unmasked photos of the suspect, reportedly taken at a hostel a hotel, I guess, where he stayed prior to the shooting. So it says authorities found a backpack that could belong to the suspect in Central Park on Friday evening, as a part of a large search involving officers and drones. According to multiple news outlets, it says police told CNN on Friday that they have a reason to believe the suspected gunman has left New York City, or at least in part because they think he took, a cab to it says the Port Authority bus center from which interstate buses leave. It says a senior law enforcement official told New York Times on Thursdays the shooter used a fake New York Jersey ID on November the 30th to book a room at the Upper West. It says, I think it's a hotel he stayed at. It says hostel, but I think that it's just hotel. I think it's a typo. It says detectives obtained DNA evidence that is now being examined by the Office of Chief Medical Examiner, the New York Times reported on Friday, but it's unclear where the DNA was taken from. I'm curious too. It says police also recovered a burner phone and a water bottle in an alley near where the shooting, so it could have got it off the phone or the water bottle. We don't know. But it says where the shooting took place. That could give fingerprints or information where the shooter, I don't think that he was that dumb to leave a water bottle that he touched, had his lips on, or a phone that I don't think so. But they're saying that it could lead to some information. I guess they're, investigating any and all possibilities. It says police believe the shooting suspect arrived in New York late New York in late November on a bus that left from Atlanta, though they don't know where he boarded it. And the Greyhound bus officials told CNN that they are fully cooperating with law enforcement. The Atlanta Police Department confirmed in a statement that it began assisting the NYPD in its investigation. So this was released, and I did watch some videos on social media, and there were a lot of people, man. They were like celebrating, like they were literally celebrating, like, well, I hope he was covered, and to me, what I saw when I read the comments were what I deduced, which you have a lot of people who are angry. You have a lot of uninsured people. Remember, how like with insurance companies, you go to apply and you could get denied if you have underlying ailments and things of that nature. Do you know how many people have died because they didn't have insurance? How many people have gone to hospitals and they could not get care because they didn't have, either they didn't have insurance or they didn't have proper insurance. Think about the number of people that were taken off, that have been rushed to the hospital, and the hospitals didn't turn them away. But I've heard several people tell me, man, doc, I had to take my mother or my father or my grandparents off of life support because the hospital was saying that our insurance ran out, and so we had to take them off of life support, or they could only treat them for so many days, or they couldn't get certain treatment or certain medicines. So people were like, I don't think that they were necessarily, and Chris Cuomo and them saying celebrate, and I did initially say celebrate, but I think people were just venting their frustrations, man, at the healthcare industry, that they were just saying like, man, look, you all have, you haven't insured folks. People have literally died as a result of the healthcare system. And I think it was more so a jab at them as opposed to this guy getting murdered. I mean, this is just what I think. And so Chris Cuomo, he's on News Nation and he's going off because he's like, well, what society are we living in? What have we become, given that you have people online that seems like they're unbothered, by the murder of this human being that was caught on video. And I say to him that you have a society of people who are angry, people are frustrated, people are fed up, and people have become desensitized. And Chris Cuomo, you contribute to that. So here we go, man. He's on here, he's upset. And I do want to play, a couple of minutes of, probably 3 or 4 minutes of what he had to say.
You keep saying there's too much noise. These shows are not talking enough about what really matters. All gotcha, all the time, all ephemeral, all salacious. You're right. Too much heat, not enough light. You want to go deep? Let's get after it. I want to talk to you about something I never have before, and I haven't heard it discussed. There's a growing threat, and people don't address it. They frankly dismiss it. Now, tonight, we have the latest on the manhunt for the CEO assassin, the Penny trial, and where the Trump cabinet picks suggest he will take us. Each and all of these stories, like October 7th, like Trump's assassination, they are all metaphors for the same proposition.
I gotta pause this. Sister Myra said, we have become like our oppressors. She said, just as unbothered by their issues as they are with ours. Exactly.
Are we becoming? My answer is admittedly being offered early.
And then he said, who are we becoming? Sir, you all have always been like this, given your track record and your history. Who are we becoming? No, we're just seeing who you are. We've been seeing it. So hold on.
But it is accurate. The CEO assassination is horrible for Brian Thompson, for his love.
Damn, he didn't even see it coming, family. Look at this. It's not going to show the whole thing, but he didn't even see it coming.
Ones. But it also raises questions. First, about how people see the tactics of the insurance machine. And I hope the industry hears them, because the system is regarded by many as rigged against the patient. I've reported on this. Actually, the president of News Nation, Mike Korn, started off with me at ABC reporting in part on insurance tactics. Personally, right now, my family is fighting for coverage for a surgery for my kid. So I get it. But the bloodlust, the celebration of a man's murder speaks to something way more threatening to you and me than anything an insurance company could ever do.
It's actually impossible to know the amount of murders that Brian Thompson is responsible for. That man is responsible for more deaths than every known serial killer in the United States combined.
The guy was a serial killer. He had blood on his hands. He had millions of people's blood on his hands.
He had over $100 million in assets. He knew what he was doing. This is just his bed, and he's lying in it. The ground, actually.
Remember, this man was on the way to give a speech to investors about all the money he made from denying healthcare coverage to people. He was a ghoul. People are sick and tired of their suffering being monetized.
These are only the ones we can show you because TikTok will strike stuff where people are openly talking about being happy someone's dead. There's plenty of it. Now, many will shake their head and say, the furious few, keyboard bullies, more proof social media is toxic. Okay, but I see it as much bigger, badder, especially because the rabid response to the CEO killing is not an isolated event. It is the third flashpoint evincing a pattern. October 7th, Trump's assassination attempt, and now the United Healthcare CEO assassination. All three were not just suggestive of rampant rudeness, departure from the accepted principle here that we remain humane no matter what matter of inhumanity is confronted. Otherwise, what separates the virtue from the vice, the good from the evil? The reactions we have seen are signs that many have lost the plot of how things change in a constitutional republic. We have entered the era in America of an acceptance of violence as a legitimate way to change systems or policies. What is
Wait a minute. I know he didn't just say that. Let's run this back 10 seconds.
It's the good from the evil. The reactions we have seen are signs that many have lost the plot of how things change in a constitutional republic. We have entered the era in America of an acceptance of violence as a legitimate way to change systems or policies.
Wow. And I agree with Asante. That he is definitely gaslighting. Did you just hear? So look, Panther Strike said link in the chat. All right, Panther, I'm gonna bring you on, man. I'm dropping it, man. You all want to come in and holler at me? Come on in, man. Come on in. He's like, send me the link. Did you just hear what he said? We are entering an era where violence has become acceptable to change systems here. And I'm paraphrasing, I'm probably butchering it, in America. Sir, America was built on violence. It was literally built on violence. Baba, come on in here. Click this link, Baba. Baba talks about this all the time. It was built on violence. You're talking about accepting. How do you think that America, what do you think they did with the Native Americans? How do you think they started this country? They started this country and they used what? Violence. They use violence. Come on, y'all. When you had the colonists that wanted to go, when you had the colonists when they wanted to get out of the under the thumb of the Britons, of the British, what did they use? Violence. Think about the Civil War. Violence. Think about the World War I. Violence. What are we talking about here? Baba, am I going crazy right now? So he's saying, and shout out to Baba, and I see Panther Strike is in the building. Baba, yeah, I gotta get him off the screen, Baba. I gotta get him off the screen. Baba, I was over here like, what the hell is he? We have just entered
an era. We just entered it. What we've been in. I'm thrown off right now.
Baba, what would you thinking when he was we just entered an era? And you know, what are your thoughts on that particular statement and the fact that people do seem unbothered about the murder of Brian Thompson? So I just want to pick your brain on those two things, Baba.
Well, number one, he's obviously gaslighting and doing his thing, his job. I mean, he replayed the murder 3 times just doing that statement. That little blur don't mean nothing. So he's feeding the bloodlust while criticizing the bloodlust. You know, so if his intent was to tone down the rhetoric, he wouldn't keep playing the murder. Right. So that's all that's for ratings, all that's for clicks and views, just like everybody else. As far as the response in a capitalist society, in a society where you got haves and have-nots, the have-nots, a whole bunch, have-nots don't cry when the haves die.
Come on.
It just don't happen. You know, you got some that like to look at the Queen of England and cry when they get married and all that and follow the royal family and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, we don't have a whole lot of emotion for rich and powerful people when they die, because we understand how you become rich and powerful in this country. And it's usually by exploiting somebody else. And the average person, if you've dealt with life insurance, medical insurance, then you've had some issues and you've dealt with some insensitivity towards your situation on behalf of your insurance company. So as soon as they say he was an CEO of an insurance company, a whole bunch of people say, oh, okay. That makes sense. You know, and so I don't think he's going to get much of a sympathetic ear, you know, and that's just what it is. And as far as he's saying, we entered an era where we believe that violence is a way to create systemic change. This system was set up by violence. There's been a civil war in this country. What do you mean? Huh? Yes, violence. We had presidents get shot in the head in this country and during parades. You know what I'm saying? And so no, that's always been a belief in the United States. It's just that certain people are usually the ones with the gun. And the fear is you don't want too many people adopting that philosophy. Right. And so I think that's what that is. But this violence in America, violence is just as American as apple pie. This is one of the most violent countries this is the most violent country in the world. This is the country where they scream, we want a ceasefire while selling missiles. While sending missiles to the war at the same time. Like, come on, y'all. Yeah. Again, mass mind control through the media, gaslighting, emotion, don't want you to think critically. That's what that was comical. I'm like, the dude is literally showing the murder in the background while criticizing people for being insensitive about the murder. But you think if that man's wife and children was watching your show, Cuomo, that they'd be like, well, at least he blurred out Brian.
Right.
No, you making them relive his murder over and over again. You're worse than the ones who were criticizing or saying, yeah, he got what he got. You're worse because you're replaying the video for ratings.
Come on.
So no one's more desensitized than you. That blur don't mean nothing. Everybody know when they blur out a curse word on a song, all that do is make you say the word. It doesn't make the word disappear. It makes you say it. You know? Yeah, I'm gonna come over for a little bit. You know I ain't down for that bull. Everybody just thought what went there. Everybody just, so yeah.
No,
that's my thought.
No, hold up, Bob, because you mentioned a lot of great points, especially when you talked about mass mind control. So I want to pick your brain on one more thing before you go. I see who is this right here. Watch Talk Act. What's going on? Watch Talk Act. Peace and love to your family. You got the floor. What are your thoughts? Watch Talk and Act. Are you there? You got to unmute. Watch Talk and Act. I got you live. You got to unmute. And I see you, Panther Strike. It says that your devices aren't connected. I see you backstage, Panther Strike.
I'm here.
Okay, there you go. Watch Talk and Act. Go ahead, man. You have the floor. What are your thoughts?
No, it's all good. The thing I wonder why isn't, and I'm not trying to condone anything, but why hasn't anything like this happened to people like Bill Gates? Where are the people out to pop somebody like that who have taken out millions of people's lives through that hocus pocus and have had insurance companies like this one in particular to cover up how people have died and not paid out to people? And that's one of the things that's not being mentioned. And Cuomo knows better because he actually had an injury and he talked about it all over these anonymous platforms on YouTube. And now he wants to try to get a check basically by speaking the rhetoric that he's speaking. Right. I don't like it at all. It irritates me.
So you heard Cuomo on other platforms griping basically and sharing his grievances, but then he turned around on News Nation and now he's saying something different.
See, he said he had publicly admitted that he was wrong about what happened with those hocus pocus. You get what I'm saying?
Right. I see what you're saying.
And he actually got injured, and his brother's responsible for thousands of people as well because they force people at these jobs. If they didn't take them in New York City, that guess what? You're going to lose your job and yada yada. So when it comes to people like this CEO who have covered these things up, that's what needs to happen to him. I hate that it has to be brought public, but this is what needs to happen to people who are corrupt.
You said get them out of there.
Yeah, this is what should be done, but people are so weak and care about their conveniences and concessions that they aren't willing to sacrifice. That's the reality.
Baba looked like he want to get in there. Baba, what was you thinking? I heard you say.
Well, I think that like I hear what the brother is saying, and it's the reason why a lot of these cats have the best security money can buy surrounding them usually at all times and are hard to reach. One of the things we have to be wary of is sometimes somebody's allowed to get killed because something else is coming down the pipe. Because maybe something else is coming down the pipe. Because this is a CEO nation. This nation is run by CEOs. Elon Musk basically bought Trump's this term in the White House for Trump. And there may be something coming down the pike to create even more of an advantage for because if the sentiment comes, our CEOs must be protected. What does that mean? Protected from what? Unions? Protected from workers' rights? Protected from being charged with discrimination? Protected from criminalizing immigrants and working them to death in their factories, right? So we kind of got to watch it, right? And it's also an understanding. I think people feel more powerless, less than weak. Like what if I do? It doesn't matter. Like if you shoot one's just gonna take his place, or So I don't think we're educated into creating change like that. I know folks that'll slap somebody in a heartbeat, but they wouldn't dream of trying to go after somebody with power. We're not trained to do that. And then does it beget power? Like with this guy getting killed, right? How does that empower? Or how's that going to empower, or will that galvanize common people to come against the corruption in these corporations, and it's going to have to convert into other types of action, not just gunplay. So when you look into it, it gets a little deeper than that. I don't think that it's responsible to just call for the murder of a corrupt figurehead, right? When it's deeper than that. It's a lot deeper than that. And that's not an easy do, an easy ask, or maybe not even a smart task.
I watched a very powerful video. It had to do with the killer hornet. And it came into a colony of bees, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, one bee automatically tried to, sacrifice itself and attack, but all the other bees surrounded the hornet. And they basically, with all their energy and their might, cooked the hornet. So that's the same mentality we have to have. And this is just nature alone. But when it comes to us as human beings, we have to have the mindset and the energy and the will to actually go up against the system that is totally against us. If we aren't, then we're going to be doomed.
Right. Well, we're not a hive. And we have to do the work. That's why Dr. Maat was talking about organize. Because you have to become a hive if you're going to kill a hornet. Right now, we're scattered. Our generation and your generation, you've been raised to go to school, get a good job, and get as far away from the Black community as you can. you know. And so when attacks come against us or we get threatened, we're spread out. We're spread out. Our money's spread out. We're spread out physically. We're spread out ideologically. So you have to become a hive if you're going to act as a hive. You don't have to be a hive to be attacked as a hive, but you do have to be a hive if you're going to defend yourself against attack, because splitting up the hive is an attack within itself.
True enough.
Yeah, very true. Thank you so much, Walk, Talk, and Act. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for weighing in, man.
I say, give thanks, my brother.
Give thanks. Peace and love, man. I see Only's in the building. Only, you have the floor. What are your thoughts?
Hi, much respect to you, Dr. Maat, and everyone on the panel.
Peace and love to you, Queen.
I wanted to say that I wonder if Cuomo, he's probably rich, so he probably sees the whole thing from the perspective of the CEO, and he's probably scared of a Baker's rebellion because everyone, white and black, were not caring about that CEO, and they were uniting in the fact that they were all getting screwed from, like, it was very plain to see that it was the rich people who were the perpetrators of things. So I just wonder if they were scared of a Baker's rebellion.
No, absolutely. I mean, I hear what you're saying. So you're thinking that you think that Chris Cuomo, that's why he's going live and doing this, because he doesn't want another Bacon rebellion to happen. That's what you're saying, Queen?
Yeah, exactly.
Baba, what do you think?
I think Sister smart on, because we got to understand that we're not watching Chris Cuomo. We're watching the commercials that come on when he go to break, because that's why his show is up there. So you're not watching, when you're watching Chris Cuomo or Joy Reid, you're not watching Chris Cuomo and Joy Reid. You're watching Target, Citibank, and whatever sponsors that are on there, because they're the sponsors, the corporations that's the money behind the media. Right. And so if rich people, if corporate America feels like it's under attack, then these are their watchdogs and their puppets that are going to speak out, and they're going to speak on behalf of the perceived threat or safety of the rich people who pay their salaries. Yeah, this ain't grassroots media. When you're talking about Chris Cuomo, you're talking about corporate media.
Still talking about corporate media. Yeah. That's
so it makes perfect sense.
Oh, she got out of there. I guess she said, I made my point.
Yeah.
Baba, look at this, Baba, before we close out, because you talked so much about mass, mind control. And we know that the media is one, of the primary tools. I mean, we could talk about media, we could talk about education, we could talk about the dominant culture, right? We could talk about, music and, so anyway, but media, it has a lot to do with. And when I talk about media, I'm talking about TV. Even though a lot of people are kind of moving away from TV, they're streaming a lot. They're watching other platforms. People on YouTube, people are on Tubi, people are streaming on Prime Video. I mean, people are kind of moving away from just watching TV. But this came out, which was a bombshell, man. I heard that after the election, that a lot of, that the ratings during the election, the ratings of cable stations dropped, substantially. They dropped. And so they, a lot of these news stations that we once knew, your MSNBC, your NBCs, your CNN, a lot of their ratings dropped. They said that a lot of people are now getting their information from podcasters, on YouTube or other, streaming platforms. And so now, we get the news that Comcast is getting ready to announce, they said, a spinoff of cable networks, including MSNBC, CNBC, and USA, Baba. And so it says the split would cleave off some of NBC Universal's best known brands, which face the same cord cutting challenge as many other major cable channels. So what we're seeing now, Baba, is that they're getting ready to get the axe, Baba.
Right.
A lot of them, and people are blaming social media, but then it's also too, Baba, I think that people are also tired. They say that a lot of these cable channels cater to white men, 65 and older. And so I think that They failed in that they didn't adjust with the times. And so you're catering to this demographic. So you have other demographics that are now going to other platforms that cater to them. I think that you also have folks that are tired of being lied to. I think people are flat out seeing, and I'm not saying, Trump said, fake news and all that, but people was talking about how the media, how those commentators are getting paid millions of dollars to lie and to spread to promote certain narratives for decades. So that's not new. So I think you have a combination of a few things going on. I think that also technology has played a role in this. People are not cutting on the TV. I mean, people watching TV on, cell phones. You're getting your news and stuff right here. So you're not even turning on, the television. So I think it's a number of things that contribute to why now you're seeing that, the cable news is done. Baba, what are your thoughts on that?
Corporate dollars are moving. That's what's moving. Corporate dollars are moving. If more people are watching Joe Rogan than Joy Reid, and I could advertise with Joe Rogan for 10 million, why would I put up 100 million for MSNBC and Joy Reid with all the things that go into television production? Corporate dollars are moving towards the podcast space. If you notice, if you're on TV, you have to have a podcast.
True.
All of the TV personalities now also have what? Podcasts. Because that's really the only way a lot of people are going to see you, because people are moving away from terrestrial TV. They're moving away from it. So now that corporate dollars are starting to move away from it, then now, Comcast doesn't have a choice, because again, that's corporate media. And without corporate dollars, they can't sustain. Even your sports leagues are moving to streaming services and away from the major networks.
That's true. The last fight that we saw with Tyson and the dude Paul, they were
NFL,
streaming that. That was on Netflix.
Yeah. Well, the NFL, they put their Thursday night game this year on Amazon Prime. See, they're all testing the waters. The NBA is using Amazon. So they're all been testing the waters, like, let's move to the streaming services. Let's move to those independent spaces, because the podcasters are getting major corporate backing.
Yeah, they are.
They are. And that's hurting the pockets. TV is going the way of the magazine.
Yeah, facts. It is. It's just like we used to have magazines, and you don't see that anymore. Like you said,
It's going the way of print media.
Absolutely. And then, Baba, look, I didn't realize how much that these news anchors, I didn't realize how much they were making. Look at this, Baba. And again, this is, I haven't seen anybody's tax returns, right? So this is just what folks are writing about on the internet. But look at this guy right here, Sean Hannity. They say Hannity, look at this, estimated net worth $250 million. 45, his salary, $45 million a year. Right. Let's keep going. We had Diane Sawyer, 80 million. Annual salary, 22 million. Hold on. Look at this, Baba. Robin Roberts. Net worth 55 million, estimated salary 18 million. George Stephanopoulos. I probably butchered that.
Yeah,
40 million. Stephanopoulos. Thank you, Baba. Look at this. Estimated net worth 40 million, estimated salary 15 million. Look at this. Anderson Cooper. Look at this. He makes $12 million a year. Look at this. Shepard Smith. He makes $10 million a year. That's former. So he was making, look at this. I knew look at this. Rachel Maddow. I think she's on CNN. Where is she? No, she's on MSNBC. MSNBC. Look at this, Baba. Estimated net worth 45 million, says estimated salary $30 million. These people get paid big money to sell us the narratives, to promote these narratives, to lie, to brainwash. This is a multi-billion-dollar business, Baba.
Yes, it is.
That's getting ready to go down the drain.
Well, everybody, because of technology, everybody's in the opinion business, right? And so the only way you can quell that is if you start limiting access to the technology, right? You start limiting access, and that's what we have to be looking at. That may be the next fight. The next frontier is when the internet becomes too expensive for working class people to do more than just observe, or you have to pay for everything that you look at, right? And so that if regulation comes, more regulation comes to the internet, then that's when we'll see, because the government, corporate America, they still want to control the narrative. So grassroots media is going to be in the crosshairs. That's just in my opinion. Grassroots media, when they come over to this space, grassroots media will be in their crosshairs.
Oh yeah, definitely, Baba.
We need to get behind the technology, and we need to support independent spaces that are not the big boys like your Metas and your X's and that sort of thing. We need to start supporting independent spaces and platforms away from these big platforms now, before it's too late.
Yeah, I agree, Baba, with you, with you 1,000%. And Baba, speaking of which, earlier today, they said they couldn't hear my commercial. So I gotta play it again. I'm gonna keep you and I on the screen, but I gotta play it really quickly.
Let's go.
Oh, Baba. So that's the Uhuru Academy commercial, family, that you just saw, empowering young minds. Baba, could you speak about the Uhuru Academy?
Uhuru Academy online, K through 12 education, adult education with Operation Reconnect, the greatest education experience in the world that's online for African children. Go to uhuruacademy.org. Scrolling across the screen. Thank you so much, Dr. Maat. It's Kwanzaa season. It's fundraising season. So y'all be on the lookout, because we're going to be celebrating Kwanzaa on the 28th. That's Ujima. I'm going to get my Black Power Lou Rawls on. I'm going to get y'all the information. I'm going to stream all day, Dr. Maat. We're going to have a little mini ACE conference. Then we may watch the Black Candle together. Then we're going to have our celebration that's going to include our children and families coming on and showing what they're learning and that sort of thing. And so y'all, that's what the Uhuru Academy is all about. It's not even just about supporting our school. It's about organizing us around African-centered, empowerment-based education. That's why we also consult with other programs. We help build other programs. We're not in competition. This ain't no McDonald's versus Burger King kind of thing, right? You know what I'm saying? It's enough Black folks to go around. Shout out to all African-centered programs out there. But yes, you can't go wrong snatching your babies up out of the killing fields, the public food system, and putting them in the Uhuru Academy.
Shay and Bobby, I got to play one more commercial.
Now there may be some. No, they're not. But I'm thinking about the Black Girls Hack.
Black Girls Hack, Black Girls Code. Some of those camps.
But they don't have the connection piece.
Exactly, the history.
So that's what's unique. The history. So I think it's important to teach that part so that students can identify with the technology, whereas they come in after. So I think this is why the program is so unique.
Absolutely.
Someone said they would love to pick at my mind. Whose mind? My mind?
That's right. He said, pick your mind.
Come on, Baba. So go ahead, plug the UACI STEM Camp, Baba.
The UACI STEM Camp Winter Edition. Okay, we are enrolling today. All right, I think we just got a couple more days left that we're going to be taking
tomorrow.
Tomorrow's it.
Tomorrow, Baba.
Tomorrow's it. All right, so go to uacistemcamp.com. Okay, now you heard the voice. That was Dr. Kevin Carnegie, the director of the CAP Center at Morgan State University. That's the Cybersecurity Assurance and Policy Center at Morgan State University. Shout out to the CAP Center, one of our community partners and sponsors in the past for the UACI STEM camp. He was coming on with all his expertise, y'all. He thinking about all the STEM programs that he's aware of, and he's aware of a lot of them. And he's like, you know what? This is what makes this unique, because this is the only camp that links STEM to our story.
Come on.
Of all the camps, and he's helped funnel millions of dollars into STEM education.
Facts.
And he came into ours and said, no, that's what makes this one unique. The UACI STEM camp stands alone as the only STEM camp that the experts can think of, that not only teach our children about science, technology, engineering, and math, but also teaches our students the legacy of Black people when it comes to science, technology, engineering, and math.
Hold up, Baba. I want to add this. And also teaches them that they can. It teaches and encourages them to use STEM knowledge to transform the world around them. So you make that connection between us and STEM. So there's a connection made. And then it's also, I don't want to say an attempt, because we do it. It ain't an attempt. It's also an effort made to ensure that they walk away from the camp understanding that they can use STEM knowledge to transform the world, to revolutionize the world around them through science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, Baba. So we got to make sure we emphasize that as well, Baba, because we don't want our
solutionary STEM.
Come on, there you go, solutionary STEM. Ashe. Baba, thank you so much for hopping on. I know it was impromptu. I'm like, Baba, click the link, Baba. Click the link, Baba. I want to pick your brain about this. And so I do appreciate
you had a great dialogue. I
Baba.
appreciate you. You was teaching the nicest. You was teaching the nicest.
You know that means the world to me. You and Dr. Asar, both of y'all was like teaching. Y'all like my champions. So when y'all be like teach, I be like, so appreciate it. So appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Baba, for coming on. And I'll be in touch with you, Baba.
Peace.
Peace. All right, family. You heard from our Baba. Love them to pieces. And shout out to the Maadian family and everyone in the chat. You could have been anywhere tonight in these YouTube streets or in these IG streets, but you were right here with your sister, Dr. Maat. And I appreciate your time. I appreciate you opening your mind to me, right? Listening to what I had to say, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. I appreciate that. But before you get out of here, family, thumb up the video, thumb it up, thumb it up, thumb it up. Also, family, share this video. Share it. You're on social media right now. I'm sure you have family and friend group chats. Share this video, family. And also, family, make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so that whenever I go live, you will be notified. And then, family, tune in next week. I got a special guest coming next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure that you pull up. In the words of our young people, make sure that you pull up on me next week. Peace and Black excellence, a Bibi Fahodie, African liberation, a Bibi Tumi, Black power, Uhuru Sasa, freedom now. See you next week.